Good evening and welcome to the Town End podcast. Well, we bottled it in Ballybofey. A 2-goal lead squandered with 6 minutes remaining and an extra man. How on earth have we thrown that away somehow to pick through this? We have Gali and Pingu tonight. Gents, first and foremost, thanks for actually joining in tonight. This is the one I think where we all just said, let's not do the show tonight.
Where do you start? My God.
Jason Kirk, straight away, put a positive spin on that one, Bill.
I mean, I'm positive we blew another lead, Bill. Fuck.
If there was ever a night to sum up the season that has been, it is tonight. I don't even know where to start. And we've said that a few times this season, and maybe we could have started somewhere, but I really don't know where to start with that one.
Yeah. We had this in the bag, right? We look, if we take it, a team that we have on the pitch should have been enough to see out, surely. 6 minutes of regular time plus whatever added time was to be played. You were 2 goals up and a man up. How on earth can we not manage that better? Yeah. And I wouldn't mind, they had 2 gilt-edged chances before they got that equaliser tonight.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people say it's a sucker punch. That's the one. It's not a sucker punch because they actually could have equalised earlier.
Yeah. We just completely retreated back in on ourselves. I don't know how many long throws Ethan Boyle put in on top of it, and we couldn't deal with one of them. Every high ball that went in there, we just could not deal with.
Yeah, and it's. I said it last week. Maybe it was the Sligo. I can't remember what game I said it. I don't know if it's the pressure of winning. It's the pressure of. I don't know what it is, but take nothing away from the third goal. The first touch by Sean Boyd is sensational. But I mean, how it's very rare we can say Dundalk were almost cruising in the game, but they really should have been cruising to victory tonight. And especially when they're 1-0 down. The positive spin you're going to put it is that we've come back from 1-0 down, albeit against 10 men. We played 60 odd minutes with 10 men against 10 men. We've been 1-0 down. We've come back into it. Murray's had a good game.
Yeah, Murray.
Yeah, look, it's a long range goal. Yeah, it's a long range strike, but I mean, it's almost in the middle of the goal. The goalkeeper badly placed it, but I mean, we'll take it. But it's. I don't know what word to use for it. It's comedy. In a week of comedy. This is just a nice wee bravo set for it. It's just
exactly. Pingu, should we be surprised? Is that the worst thing that we're not even surprised by this anymore?
You would on the state of play, you probably would be, wouldn't you? You know what I mean, on the game, but on the state of our season, no. Just to put it simply, no, you wouldn't be surprised. But just another. It just sums us up, doesn't it? You know, and I was just saying to you off air is who do we blame for this? Because every podcast, everybody are talking, I said, Abibi and Sonny have been to blame for the results over the last couple of weeks. Neither of them were on the field tonight, so you can't blame either of them. You know,
I have it down here that it's Zeus, Thor, or whoever is the god of football. It has to be one of them. I think that's who Bill prays to. So it's one of them.
One of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Just very, it's just frustrating, isn't it? And I'm sure the players and I'm sure Vinny's frustrated after a result like that. But it's again, is it that? Holy crap! I'm in a lead here. I have the lead. You know, is that the way that they're thinking? Is how do we hold on to it? Where you would never had this. You would never had this fear. Even last year, you know, when things weren't going bad or going well this time last year. If we got ahead, you never really thought we were going to lose, you know, or even draw it. But that's a sucker punch. Finney's been complaining about the number of games we still have, or the number of games we have in close succession. Now we've got another one, you know. Yeah. So that's probably a bigger killer even than the result itself. Is what I would think, you know. So it's it's just hopefully we get through the next one. But then, you know, part of me, the pessimist in me, is hopeful not hopeful, but if we end up losing, does that speed up the transition of ownership? Because I think it's going to be hard if we make Europe. It's going to be hard to get rid of these lads. But maybe that's something we might talk about a little bit later on.
Yeah. I was trying to think, lads. Maybe it's Aphrodite, maybe it's Athena, and I figured out it's Achilles. Has to be.
him and that heel of his. Hey.
Yeah, that's what I figured out. It's an Achilles that's probably ruptured at this stage, and that's the God we've been praying to. So we've done this all wrong. It really explains it. I mean, look, if we pick through the game for a moment, I think we were playing decent for a while. Their goal, I don't think anybody had to run a play really. It was a bit back and forth, nobody really doing anything. But we had 2 chances to clear that. Both Dummigan first, then Andy Boyle, both of them had chances to clear the ball. Neither of them did it. And then all of a sudden, it's in the back of the net. That's the story of our season right there.
Yeah, and we said it like we don't generally concede screamers. It's generally our own doing. And yeah, the mix up at the back. They probably I don't know if they're not calling for the ball between themselves, but just somebody take ownership of it. And then when I think it was a Dummigan that did take ownership of it. I could be wrong on that one. He just, I don't know if he tries to play a bit of football and the lad just nips the ball off him, and it's
a good finish by Olami from that position.
Yeah, like put the ball into the stand. Like if in doubt, it's like
knock it out.
And he just runs in. Peter probably hasn't a lot to do up until then. He's coming in. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks, so a couple of months. And your man just finishes really well, and it's. Look at it's you're 1-0 down, but still, you still fancy us to go up. It's especially when we're going up there, you're 1-0 up, and it's a cup game. We get back into it very comfortably. I thought we got back into the game really easily. But and then you go down to 10. It's the usual going off, or the lad going off after 10 minutes. I don't even know if it's a red card, but it nearly kills the game. You're thinking, this is going to be an awful an hour now to watch because we could just whitewash them completely. And it just did not go like that at all.
I got worried though, because I just, when I'd seen the save from, I think it was Hooben had the original shot, and I was watching Murray in the back post. And I'm just put your lace through this, put in the back of the net. And it seemed to go fairly slow coming to it. And then I thought, God, has he just hit the chest of the player? Did it hit the post? It was very hard to work out on the stream. And then there's kind of chaos after, and it's like all of a sudden there's a red card and we have a penalty. I was like, well, where did this just come from? I'll take it.
It was like, it was a split second decision. And look, I'd argue whether it'd be a red. I don't know. Look, I mean, you need to see it again, but we're still, like I said at the start, we're almost cruising. I mean, it's very rare we've said that all season. It's not that we were cruising. We weren't dominating the game, but the lads are down to 10. Finn Harps are down to 10. We're 2-1 up. Then we're 3-1 up. Like, I don't know how you go wrong from that. Yeah, look, a team can get back into it. But like you said, Chris, it could have been 4. We could have been beaten in 90 minutes because they had their chance. If this game had ended extra time, we would have really struggled.
Somebody did say,
Barry
McKeever said, thank God there was only 4 minutes of added time.
It was only today I realised the game was going to a replay. I thought it actually finished tonight, but
probably just better off.
I think Colin Casey would have a post out. We're still there. We've got to play them Tuesday night. You'd like to think we'll take them to Oriel Park and put them to the sword, but we just don't know with these boys. We just don't know. But the game, it's definitely we've handled as well. Yeah, look, we've let them back into it. We've let it, people have said it's a scramble at the end, but we've completely let them back in. Like Finn Harps has done excellent. The boy takes his third goal really well. That first touch, the ball dropping out of the air over his shoulder is unbelievable. But I mean, we should never get ourselves into that position. On
the stream, Gally, the commentators seem to be slightly agreed with Murray's goal because he was down injured initially, and then
they
were expecting the ball back by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I think it's one of them.
It wasn't even the most super of shots. Like, I was surprised.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, the keeper's badly placed. The ball nearly goes in the middle of the net. But stuff like that would be down to the ref. And look, you play to the whistle. It's kids football. It's that kind of ruling. But yeah, the goal. Look, I missed it I only seen on the replay. I missed it. I just happened to turn around the goal to score, but I actually thought it was in the top corner. It was taken because I seen him with the ball. It was taken that far out. Yeah, the goalkeeper was really poor for it. I mean, if it's one of ours, we're absolutely hammering him here on the podcast. But look, there's we can sit and talk. There's no excuse. There's really like we said that a lot this season, but a game like that, like they should be like we should have all been going home early. It's just it's so sickening. I mean, look, it's just as well as the cup. It's not another 3 points we drop in the league.
Yeah.
Because we get to go again on Tuesday night. I think somebody mentioned the supporters meeting there. That'll have to be moved probably now.
Lee has been in. I was going to mention it later on, but so originally the supporters meeting was meant to be on Tuesday, so it's now moved to Monday. So just so everyone's aware, I'm sure Lee will put up a post anyway from the supporters club just to keep everybody.
I mean, have a good amount of fans back on Tuesday night, so you'd like to think.
Frank Harlan thinks it could be over 2,000 in Orioles, so that's going to make a big difference. Pingu, I think I'll come to you on this just because I know he's your favourite. But Hubin with 2 tonight, a fairly convincing penalty and a very good header. That's 3 goals in 2 games for him now. Might we see a little bit of confidence back in Pat?
You had to come to me, didn't you? No, look, in fairness to Pat, I think you're right. I think maybe he's getting fit again. I've been critical of him because towards the end of last year, he was given the captain's armband before he got the injury at the end of the season. For a lot of games, he was the standing captain, and I think when Shieldsy got injured at one point, he was captain in the team earlier, maybe this season as well. And you just have that expectation of him that he works hard all the time. So when he now that he's banging in goals, look, he's doing what he's paid to do, isn't he? As the striker on the team, and as the main talisman. That's all you want.
When you look at it, I think even his penalties. We were critical of him before in other seasons that he seemed to just smack these in, but he seems to be if he's putting them in now, he's putting them in with considerable power rather than. He never really. We always said if he's going to put it down the middle, you got to put it through with a lot of power in it, or you pick a corner. So he's clearly worked on that at least. I can see that. Like he's 1 goal. That's 9 goals from him. He's 1 goal off going into double digits now, which I know for him is a poor return because we know what he can do. But we need his goals now more than ever, I suppose.
Yeah, we do, and obviously with the run of games that's going to be coming, I think is it Sligo next week and then Harps away again. Obviously the Harps game Tuesday, but I think it's Harps Sligo Harps, isn't it?
And then the Friday again.
Yeah, so or it's Harps and Harps, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Harps and Sligo. So you've got it's not going to be easy as well. And as you've seen, even when Harps went down to 10 men, they don't make it easy on you. And that's one thing they're going to go to Oriel, and they're probably going to set themselves up that they're going to be hard to break down, and you're going to hope that just any chances to break that the Hobin's going to be there. So look, 3 goals in 2 games is a good return. Hopefully that's the start of him getting some kind of form back, and at a time now it's crucial that we do have him in a bit of form.
Yeah, definitely. Gary, I'll go back to you for the for Harp's second goal. It's another long throw in, kind of half dealt with. It looked like it was kind of meant to go one direction maybe and ended up going out for a corner, and they were just piling bodies in them under the high ball again. And this time Cherry seemed to get a little bit lost under the high ball and the numbers coming in around him.
Yeah, I think it'd be probably something we'd probably be at ourselves if you're down to 10 men and you can't really go around them. What Finn Harps were doing, they were literally going through them. And look, they've got lads there that are well fit to deal with the likes of Boyle or Cleary at the back. And it was pure probably adrenaline more than anything else. They just bullied themselves into the net. And look, Finn Harps probably this season haven't been really like that. Ollie Hogg got them playing them a little bit better. But over the years, they've been known to be that type of team. But that's not to do them with the service. They do exactly, they get results. They're sent out to do a job. And yeah, look, they're bullied away for the second goal. Like I said, their third goal I know it's a long over the top, but it's a hell of a touch. I mean, if Pat Hoban does it or Dave McMillan does it, we're talking about it all week. But look at their second goal. They're probably just more frustrated than anything else. They're probably just trying to do whatever they can to get it, as they've only got the 10 men on. But again, look at goals like that are defenders' faults. When you can see goals like that, it's all fault. Same with the first goal. It's a great finish, but the lead up to it is ours. It's all doing. And And again, look at Cherry. You can
just kind of get lost in between everybody.
Yeah,
though,
and if we're calling for different goalkeepers, but if they're not playing enough, he comes in and he played what, twice, 3 times all season. And, look, we can put it down to that. We can look at, you don't know, but then there's that many bodies in there. Confusion can happen. I mean, you don't want it to happen at this level of football, but look, it's just a typical Dundalk season. That it's like I said at the start. If there's ever a night to sum it up, tonight, like that game, like it'd be different if it was Rovers.
Yeah.
But when you go up there to Ballybofey, Finn Harps, and that's not being disrespectful to Finn Harps, but that just shows that the season we're having was summed up tonight in the last the last 60 minutes, because we're down to 10 men. We couldn't finish them off.
Pingu, I'm just thinking, you're 3-2 up, you're a man up. There's 6 minutes left on the clock. The first time we scored 3 goals against the Premier opposition since we beat Waterford 3-0 on the 30th of April. Like, Harps could sense our fragility, where the long ball after long ball coming in to the box and we can't deal with anybody. Was it a matter of Harps just thinking, we're just going to keep lobbing it in there because Dundalk are going to give us another opportunity or two?
Yeah, I think it's probably that, and it's probably a case of, I don't think our back line has faith in any of our 3 goalkeepers. Being completely honest, as you say, Cherry was a little bit at sea, and Gally, I know you were saying he's only played 3 games all year, but there's probably a reason for that too. Cherry's 37. He's not the goalie that he was 10 years ago, when he was kind of running the show with the Dundalk. But I mean, it just doesn't help when teams lack that confidence in their goalkeeper, and as you say, you've got that kind of fragility, Chris, where it's, and Steph will probably be able to jump in on this too as a former player, that it's, if you trust the person behind you, you're gonna be full of confidence, and it's kind of the more pressure you're under, you're thinking to yourself, if these get one chance against this fella, they're gonna take it, So I think, as you said, the more you pump the ball in the box, the more chances you're going to get, aren't you?
Yeah. Steph, how are you? You're very welcome. Steph, from 65th minute, we're leading 3-2. We're a man up here. Surely, our game management needs to be so much better than what we're showing right now.
Yeah, look, there's experienced players in that team there tonight. 2 lads at the back, even. I just watched the last goal again, and we've cleared it, and then when the ball comes back in, we're still at the edge of our box nearly, and one of the centre halves has just caught the wrong side. I don't know. Like, look, if it's an injury time, it's the last minute. If the ball gets pumped up, as soon as that's travelling, the leader of the back 4 gets everyone out and tries to, because even if the strikers don't go at you, then they're offside. But they're moving the wrong way. They're moving away from goal if the ball comes back in. Like, so, everyone just look. It's the 95th minute, but still, like, if you clear your lines, then it's your chance to push everyone up.
Yeah.
That's one incident from the whole thing at the end. Like, it's just.
If you take Steph, what Pingu's on about, that, like, Harps could clearly had a feeling that even though we're into added time here, there's this season's Dundalk, they're going to give us another chance. In previous years, I think we would have held on to that ball and tactically played our way out and seen the game out, no problem. But we just seem to be inept at doing that sort of tactical football this year, that we're just coughing up chances for the opposition, and we hope that they're not going to take it. But more often we've seen this year, they are taking it, and Harps took their chances tonight.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a mentality thing on top of everything else. Like, look, I think some of the players have been substandard that have come in, and then others haven't performed to a level, and everyone's sort of dragging each other down at the minute. But it's all mentality. Like, when we go 1-0 up, you're sort of sitting at the edge of your seat going, we're going to concede here. And the players obviously are thinking the exact same thing. Whereas if you're on the other side of that, and you're on a winning team, even if you go 1-0 down, you're sort of a lot more relaxed because you know you've the players to come back into it. Whereas it just seems like it's game on game. We haven't able to just grind out a 1-0 win, put another result in after that, and then next of all you're going, okay, look, we can start getting points on the board.
Yeah.
And tonight's cup game, like, look, they the man sent off after 28, 29 minutes, and then you're still thinking, look, it's tough. They might make it tough for us when it's 1-1, but we go 3-1 up, and you're thinking, surely we can see this one out. And as soon as they got their second goal, I was thinking it's only a matter of time before they get an equaliser now.
Yeah. It was starting to go one-way traffic at that stage, like, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like you know, you're under pressure as soon as they have the momentum, and we're sitting in, and you're just asking for trouble at that stage.
Gally, like, so where did we go wrong in tonight? So was it our game management? Is it just a lack of confidence? Is it just this whole season of just expecting we're going to lose or expecting we're going to throw this away?
Yeah, like, it's probably more confidence than anything. Like, look, we've spoken about Vinny before, and like, you don't prepare for games like that. You can't prepare for being, an hour against 10 men. You shouldn't have to really prepare for that. You should know how to play a ball with an extra man on the field. But it's just seeing the game out. I mean, and that's generally, it's not a fitness issue, I don't think. In tonight, and sometimes it can be a fitness issue. Speaking earlier in the season, the fitness was a bit poor because of pre-season, but tonight it's just mental. It's just a mental game. It's like, we were only talking about Dan Cleary, how relaxed he made the back four look, with Sonny not being there. We only had the words out of our mouth, and then all of a sudden it's 3-2. But it's just seeing out a game. Like, we talk about even Pat's second goal, his header in the second half. It's a great goal. It's a great ball in. So going forward, the mentality was right. The lads are trying to get goals, but again, it goes back to the other hand, the first whole of the field. Just simple stuff. I know the balls come over the top, but what else were they expecting? 10 men, 94th minute, 95th minute.
Yeah, you'd be hoofing everything just up there and hoping.
You got to expect that. You got to expect, especially with Boyd up front. He's 6 foot odd. Like Stephen was saying, it's a mental thing. It's like a coach can send you out to do a job, but if you've got that situation where you're 3-1 up with a couple of minutes to go and you have an extra man and you can't see out the game, there's not a lot the sideline can do for you. It's the footballers themselves out in the field. Like, your tactics go out the window then. It's very simple. You've got a 2-goal lead. You have an extra man in the field. Just keep the ball. Keep the ball. Don't let them match you. I know Finn Harps went long ball over the top, but these are professional.
But that's what they were always going to do.
Yeah, of course.
And they were going to use Ethan Boyle's long throws into the box. Absolutely. That's their game plan. That's how they've been playing all season, and it's been very, very successful for them.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew that. I'm sure Vinny knew that. The team had to have known that and been working on high balls, long hanging balls coming in at them. Like, that was going to be the tactic tonight, and yet, basically, the second 2 goals from Finn Harps today were both exactly those tactics.
Yeah,
and long throws in, we couldn't deal with it. They ended up getting a corner, scored a second goal, and then, like Steph just said, it's a hit and hope nearly at the end, just a long ball up. But because we went defensive, we retreated in on ourselves. We created an opportunity for something there.
Yeah,
instead of pushing creating a bit of space
and Ollie, exactly, yeah, and Ollie and Finn Harps, they're shrewd operators. Ollie Hogg has been around this league long enough. He's a shrewd. He knows exactly how to get the team ticking, and like them boys would have been well up for that in the second half. They would have, like, even with 10 men. I don't think there were any. Finn Harps never thought for 1 second they were out of the game, and that's even more worrying.
Even a 3-1.
Exactly, and they knew, right, we can get at this. They would have watched the goals from Sligo, Longford over the last couple of weeks, and they would have known, right, we can there's a weak link here somewhere, and we can definitely get at it. And they did. They exploited it to the last. And look, it's something they need. You could probably say that it's something they need to work on, but I mean, we're 3/4 of the way through the season. They haven't worked it yet.
I think someone had said it on the comment here tonight. Should the substitutions have been made a little earlier? Could we have freshened it up? I think Mayo only came on.
You probably could have.
Goal, was it?
Again, hindsight, you probably could have, but I mean, like, again, I keep repeating myself. At 3-1 up, you're probably thinking, well, no panic for subs here. You know, we should be okay. You know, look, yeah, I mean, like I know we talked about Stephen Kenny substitutes. He was very late with substitutes. I don't know if that's a thing that Vinny would have taken on from that setup back in the day. I don't know. But we are notorious. Dundalk over the last decade are notorious for making.
But there were very
substitutions.
Impactful substitutes when we were doing that. It was like how many times do we see Georgie Kelly come off the bench and score? Yeah. You know, like we really missed that.
Yeah.
Sort of
McMillan back in the day.
Yeah. You're just looking at I'm just looking at the bench there. And you're sort like Han come on last week and got sent off. Mm-hmm. He mustn't already fancy Ben Amar, and then you're trying to say like Ryan O'Kane maybe might have been an option. He's decent on the ball and he's a bit of pace about him. If we had like I don't know like this the subs
was
were
the
made.
Second substitute.
Leahy was the first. Oh no, Leahy was the second in the 92nd minute.
Second. Maeo was the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. In the 87th, according to Flash score, roughly around that.
I knew it was after we had conceded the second goal, all right, because he needed a bit of height in there, and he took Murray off for him. And to be fair, the first thing he did was come on and won a header, but it went out for another throw, so it was just coming back at us again.
And in fairness, you're probably thinking we can almost make any sub here. At 3-1 up, they're probably thinking, yeah, look, we'll be safe enough, but unfortunately, the dog season just hasn't gone that way at all. And look, it's another just nightmare. Look, the only thing is we have another crack at it. It's not a league game, I suppose. That's the positive thing to take out of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have fancied us an extra time the way things are going now.
No, absolutely not. Even because that's just the way things have been going all season. Like, even if there had been 8 minutes of injury time, they probably would have won
it.
Yeah.
Pingu, we're going to try to find some positivity in this for today, and surely the most positive news was probably one that we mostly all woke up to this morning. Dan McDonald broke news that there could be a new consortium looking to take over Dundalk Football Club. Maybe there's a positivity for today. What's your thoughts on this?
Please let it be true. No, I suppose it's you have to take it at face value, don't you? You have to hope that it's legit. I mean, there's been rumours going around the town for the last couple of weeks, and those rumours seem aligned with Dan's article for the most part. So you'd have to be hoping that something will come of it. But from what I've heard, a lot of it hinges on how the rest of the season plays out as well. You know, so as I say,
our Premier Division status and European football, I presume.
Yeah, I mean, my assumption would be that if we get European football through the cup by winning the cup or just getting to the cup final, I think we can still get it if we get to the cup final, can't we? Maybe not. I'm not sure.
No, it goes to the fourth place team if there's already someone there.
Right, so we have to win the cup. But if we do that, then the price of the club for sale will go up. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure that's what they'll be looking at too. It's a more attractive option for them to sell with European football on the horizon, and they're probably looking at it that they're going to make some money out of that. But yeah, as I say, look, the news is very, very good, and you would hope that it's going to be back in the hands of if it's someone from Dublin. We're led to believe that there's local people involved in a consortium as part of the businesses. I know Stat Sports has been mentioned. You know, you've got people then in a similar vein to Andy Connolly, Paul Brown, maybe not the exact same, but they're in a similar vein to them, who know the club. They know what we're about. They know what Dundalk has had, you know, in terms of the success over the last few years. They know maybe the landscape of Irish football as well. So that can only be a good thing. You know, because like we've all been saying over the last while, and obviously after Bill's comments that during the week about only offering 1-year deals. I mean, that's going back I wouldn't even say that's going back 8 years ago. That's probably going back only about 5 years ago when all the clubs were offering 1-year deals. Like we were the first club, and I think it was after 2016, we were the first club that actually started offering 2-year, 3-year deals. So I personally, I'd like to see some kind of change of ownership before the end of the season. So maybe likes of Dan Cleary, potentially Hooban, Michael Duffy, that these lads, is there potential that we would be able to offer them a 2-year deal and just make Dundalk an attractive proposition for them. But when we look ahead to next year, I mean, it's probably going to be slim pickings for the players we're going to get, no matter who comes in at this point. Because every other club has kind of followed suit with what Dundalk done back in 2016, and they're offering multi-year deals. So who's actually going to be available? Are we going to get the best of the rest, who all the clubs released? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see. Either way, next year, I still wouldn't anticipate we're going to be up there or thereabouts. Sorry, this was a positive thing you're asking me, wasn't it?
Yeah. I knew I went to you with the wrong question. Steph, save me. What's your thoughts on this possible takeover?
It's hard to know, because you've just had the first initial, like, there's interest in the club. You're going to get excited by it straight away because it's been so bad, and the way the club's been run, some of the decisions that have been made, you're just thinking that sometimes it's actually a wind up, or it's like a disrespect towards the fans. Like, even the statement the other day, like, as if it's the fans' fault that the players aren't playing well, which is outrageous. So you're just sort of hoping that, whoever does come in has the best interest of the club, not just business people who can benefit off a European run or something like that. Like, look, I think when Andy Connolly and Paul Brown had it, like, they were fans first and foremost.
Yeah. And
there was a buzz about the place. Look, everything mightn't have been perfect, and I've heard different stories about whatever, but everything seemed to be like there was the right people in the right places to sort of look after how the club was being run, and everything seemed to be on track, and the performances and the results on the pitch obviously, make everything great or terrible. So I suppose when you're looking at sort of statements coming out of how the owners want to run things, it's definitely not what the fans want. So if it's somebody that's going to come in, might be a breath of fresh air, run the thing right, do what's the best interest of the club, I think it can only be a positive thing.
Yeah. Gally, but is there a potential snag in all this of what do Peak Six value this club at, and who saddles the debt? I presume that's
always the big stumbling block. And like when you're selling a club, when you're not actually buying the actual structure of it, so you're not you won't own the ground, you won't own.
There's no physical asset.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you hear some of the numbers that have been put around, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, for to own a club that you won't actually, like you said, there'll be no physical. We won't own the bricks and mortar of it. But like thinking of the staff was saying, anything that benefits the club is good news. Now, having said that, when Peak Six came in, we thought the same. This is going to be great for certain individuals. It hasn't worked out. The Peak Six idea isn't the worst thing on the planet. It's the people that's implemented it. That's the issue.
I think though. I think, like, when you think of the Peak Six model, when it was first, when they first presented it to us, we looked at the names and the people that were involved, and they all had connections with football in the UK and the US, and you're thinking it's not just, as it's turned out now, it's mostly just, Matt Hulsizer making the decision, and his father then, putting those decisions, I suppose, into implementation. What you need is a wide spectrum of ideas and knowledge for it to work. And we'd hope that if this consortium are serious, that we've got some individuals like the two lads have just said there, that they've got good football knowledge, they know Ireland, they know the League of Ireland, and we can be a lot more shrewder in our, in particular, transfer business, I presume, than we have been in particular this year.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you need people. They don't necessarily need to be, an Irish owner, but you need someone who's got that interest. You need someone who'll trust people to do this. So the recruitment is our biggest problem. Not recruitment to recruit, but the recruitment of certain players. And if they can get someone in to do that, or allow someone to do that in a proper way, then what quid's in, because there's the League of Ireland has unbelievable talent, and this is one year we didn't utilise it at all. You know, we've heard different things, and you know, when Mike Tracy was there was this, you know, and Stephen, we go back to Stephen Kenny at the risk of going back too far, but we were getting the best young Irish talent through the door, and the last probably 18 months we haven't really done that. And if we can get back to doing that type of thing, not even attempting to sign him, back to a situation where players want to come and play here. Like if you knock the door of the top 20 footballers in the country, young talent, and who wanted to come and play for all, not many of them would take it at the way it stands. So you're hoping a new ownership, a new regime, a new way of thinking, maybe just it's not even a new way of thinking. It's just go back to what we were originally all about. And I think it would be. I think it's exactly what the route the club needs to take, and we need to get back to what we were doing a couple of years ago. Maybe not at the expense that was spent. You know, we might not win 3 or 4 titles in a row, but if it's going to take a year or two, that's fine. But you got to get back to that mentality of we got to sign young, hungry footballers who want to play for the club and are not coming in just to, you know, we're not, but at the risk of talking about people's wages. You know, we don't want people to come to play a paycheck. We want 2-year contracts, we want 3-year contracts with people committed. Like, as much as the player has to commit to the club has to commit to the player, and that's not going to happen under Peak 6 at the minute. So I'm all for anybody that wants to come in and kind of change the fortunes on and off the field. I think it's just for fans, you know, people going to games, anybody in the local area, it can only benefit.
Pingu, I think one of the big criticisms that Peak 6 had, and I know COVID hasn't helped, but this absentee ownership is very, very hard to play out, in particular in the League of Ireland. That it's a challenging environment at best, but you got to have your feet on the ground and you got to be clued into what's happening, and that clearly hasn't happened under Peak 6 this year. So I suppose you'd be looking for, like, we've heard names bantered around kind of locally who could be part of this. Is that what would be a real key thing to nail down?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously, as I said, the 2 lads, Alan Clark and Sean O'Connor from Stat Sports have been mentioned. I know Andy Conley's name's been mentioned again. Like, the first thing you'd be looking to do is, I think James Rogers mentioned it yesterday or Wednesday, that all these lads that all these people have left the club. He said there was something like 29 players, but that wasn't even getting into staff and volunteers and things like that. And I think Dan had something similar in his article today. You know, you want to be getting these people back involved in the club, because I don't even necessarily think, because absentee ownership worked when Mike Tracy was there to an extent, because he trusted Martin Connolly and he trusted Colin Murphy and all these people that were involved in the club back at the time. But somehow that when Bill came in, that trust was broken, and he's brought in Jim, Big Jim, Staff's favourite fella. He's brought him in, and you know, somehow that's broken down, and then you hear rumours that him and Vinny aren't talking even on the ground here. You know, so you want to rebuild that kind of cohesive working unit that everybody is working together. And I mean, even when we talk about people that know football from the Stat Sports point of view, even if they're not actually, it's not Stat Sports that's going to be involved in this by all accounts. It's going to be the 2 lads separately away, but you would see that as a commercial opportunity for the club straight away, that any of their sports technology that they might want to test, well, now they've got a club they can actually test it on. You know, so not only are they benefiting, but then the club is benefiting from this state-of-the-art technology for nothing really. You know, because right now I think they sponsor it, or their sponsorship, but now you're getting that kind of stuff for free. So when you look across all that, I mean, you have to see that there's some sort of a benefit for all parties on that, and that's the way it should be. Where at the minute, the way our club is being run, I think there's only one group that's benefiting, and it's Peak 6, because it's certainly not Dundalk FC, and it's not the supporters, you know.
Like Steph, the current model just can't continue. It's not benefiting, like Pingu just said. It's definitely not benefiting the football club. It doesn't seem to be benefiting us fans. You Pingu threw out the stats there of the number of players that's come through. We've got volunteers, we've got staff moving through. Like, it's, you know, I think, you know, Aaron Lawless, this is his last week there then as well. So that's your stadium manager gone now. He was also on the steering committee. for stadium developments. So like we've lost another body.
Yeah, look, when you see a turnover on staff like that, there, alarm bells just like if you come in and just told somebody that knew nothing about Dundalk FC the turnover in staff of late,
Yeah,
there'd be alarm bells ringing, going, what is going on there? What's the issue? Like people aren't just leaving because they've done what they could, and there's obvious reasons why they're leaving. Some volunteers are being shown the door, told they're not needed anymore, and people have put their heart and soul into the club for free. Like so,
yeah,
it's just I don't know what's going on, but it's bad, whatever it may be.
mm-hmm.
And then Gally touched on the recruitment on the pitch, so. I don't like going back to it, but just going back to like Dave Rogers talking about recruitment, and he was sort of talking about his philosophy of like you've no asset, like you're talking about assets of the club, but the players are nearly the biggest assets in the club. So like he was saying, like you need to target the young hungry players with potential to sell on, like players under the age of 23, 24, and he gave me a list of 8 people and one person to come back into the club, which was Will Patching, and 2 of them have already moved to England and Scotland. Like I know, like and one of the other ones was Talbot, the keeper.
Yeah,
who was like nearly drove himself to Oriel to sign with the club. So like that would have been 2. Like Gibson was one of them that went from Sligo over to England, and then obviously like look.
You might well tell us all the names that you're flying through the list.
Yeah, like look, Scales was the other one. That would have been a bit of a fucking ass to get him from Rovers, but like that's the sort of profile of player he was looking at within the league. Young, like are you going to give, like if you give somebody $1,000 a week for a year, you could probably look at someone like just say Mark Doyle, for instance, nailing down to a 2 or 3 year deal, and instead of spending I don't know, as a 52-week contracts they're on, they're probably not even on that much.
I wouldn't have thought they're on it. I wouldn't have thought so. I'd say
you're probably talking about 40, 42, 45-week contracts. You could probably get Mark Doyle from Drogheda for a snip of that, and you can nail him down to a 2 or 3 year deal. He's flying, and we seen him up in Oriel Park. He's talented. He can score goals. Like the profile of that sort of player. Like you've young, hungry players looking to make an impression within the league.
And these were the sort of ones he had identified for the interview and stuff, was it?
Yeah, like he sort of put those players across to the club and just said, look, this is the sort of player I'd be looking to attract. Now, you still have to go, and obviously these are signed with clubs, and you still have to try and attract them to the club. But
yeah,
look, I think Gally was going to sign from at one stage after hearing him for an hour or so. He just has
exactly what Bill's structure that he wanted, according to the interview last week. These young, hungry players that he can get on longer contracts and then sell on.
Yeah, well, look, that's exactly.
But then
it.
not to go with that candidate then is bizarre, even more bizarre, is it not?
Yeah, I think it was. There's a load of reasons. I think he was told he had it, and then it was withdrawn and changed, and at the 11th hour. So I'm not sure I don't know what sort of position we'd be in. You need a time ball. Like Ali doesn't think it would have worked out just because of what was going on behind the scenes. And look, if his hands were tied and he went in there and he's told, look, you're not allowed to sign any players, but you can sign these 3 from wherever, it obviously wouldn't have went down well. But like when he had his plan, his structure of what he wanted to do, and everything seemed like it was promising, and it wasn't like we're going to spend the money on these players. I mean, you don't want to be talking about wages either and stuff like that. Yeah, but you're talking about bringing someone in for a year, and then like I mentioned last week, they can just walk away. They can walk away from the club after collecting a big wage, and then we're left with what benefit from it. Like they haven't improved us, definitely haven't. Whereas if you sign a young player with potential, other clubs in the UK, Scotland might be looking at them as a sell-on fee, or obviously they'll be doing well at that stage. You're going to improve the team, but it's that sort of profile of a player I think we should be signing, and that's what Kenny did. Like, he at the start he brought in his experienced players, but he only boosted it up with young, promising, talented players from the best, the pick of the league. When you've seen some of the players that come in.
But even the Richie Towells were on the dumping ground from Celtic and that at the time.
Yeah,
we picked them up and built them into great players, and then done the same with Daryl Horgan, and then
Yeah, there was a conveyor belt of talent coming through, and it was nearly Kenny got to a stage where he was signing a player. He was signing a player and he was coming in, and after about 6 months he hadn't played, but then he started breeding him into the team because he obviously knew other players were going to move on. All eyes were on us after Europe and stuff like that. So,
but he also had that track record nearly at that stage. After Towell, after Horgan, you think McGrath
went away,
Boyle moved over. If you signed with Stephen Kenny, you're in that shop window for the UK.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure everyone in the league was talking about it. All the young lads in the league, or even some of them mid-20s, sort of saying, look, if they're over in the UK when they were younger, and sort of said, look, we might get a chance to go back. I'm sure that was a big enticement. You had the European football, everything seemed like it was going rosy, and it sort of seemed like we had that structure to just continue it on with Finney.
Yeah.
At the time, but it's a far cry from that right now.
Yeah. And I think it was on. I don't know if it was James Rogers that said it during the week. Simple stuff about a 1-year contract. You're trying to sign players and not sign them on long term. If they play every game in a season, they'll actually only play maybe a dozen games when you sign them, and they can actually talk to someone else. It doesn't make any sense. So they can play
after 6 months. They can start talking.
You only have them in the door. They're getting their fitness up, and they might be having a great season, and then they can talk to someone else in a matter of months. It benefits nobody really. It's a 2-year contract. If you want to succeed in the League of Ireland, or you want to kind of have a 2-year contract, is absolute minimum.
But we've talked about a lack of football industry in this country. If we're going to keep handing out 1-year contracts, where does that bring us? I mean, you can't get a loan from a bank. You can't. I think about how many of these players. The lads I'm thinking, the Patrick McElhenney's, the Michael Duffy's, when they first signed for us, and I'm talking, Fats the first time and stuff like that, didn't have a family. They had a partner and stuff like that. Now they've got families. Now their heads are in a different place. They're thinking about stability. They're thinking maybe life after football. They're thinking, where am I going to live? Do I stay in rented accommodation? Can I afford a house and stuff like that? 1-year contract, you're not going to be able to do anything on a 1-year contract. You need the stability, like you say, of a 2 to 3 year contract. Go and lock them down into this. We've seen under previous regimes, second year always improved players. Their fitness looked better. Technically, they look better after a lot of training and stuff into them. To get I think nobody had a right to walk into a Dundalk team. You had to earn your right to get in there. That's pretty much what Kieran Kilduff had said during the week. You earned your right to get into a Dundalk team. But if you look at some of the players, we got rid of real good players, and we probably brought in, no disrespect to them, but they're substandard to probably what they replaced. But yet they walk straight into that team.
Yeah, it's like they completely underestimated the league this season for whatever reason. This is their what are we talking? This is their 4th season. 5th season is over for 4th season. It's like they just completely underestimated the league. They just thought, if the wages are decent and they're obviously handy footballers, that makes no sense. It doesn't make anything whatsoever. It's complete.
I think they used the pedestal of European football to think they could attract the best from all around Europe. Yeah. But sometimes you don't need to do that.
Exactly.
Sometimes what you need to do, it's kind of like what Steph had said, you pick the best talent within your league, then you pepper that round with a little bit of extra talent to keep lads on their toes and stuff like that. Increase your competition. There's no harm in that, having competition in a squad, but the competition has to be to a high standard. And I think when you compare what we've let go and how they've improved other teams where we are now, it clearly hasn't worked.
Yeah, and you'd be hoping that a new ownership model where would hit the ground running straight away, because I think that's all fans are looking for, just stability with the players. You know, like, I mean, probably the most patient fans in Ireland when it comes to stadiums. So like we can wait a bit longer, but when it comes to the on the field stuff and players just aren't worth the jersey they're wearing, you know, there's got to be a massive rethink and rezoning done.
Yeah, a couple of things just coming in on the comments, lads. The draw for the semi-finals will be made on Monday, so we'll already know who we could be playing before we play then on Tuesday. Frank Carlin just saying there that it's actually about 13 people have left Oriel Park in the last 12 months, which is an absolute crazy stat, like you just said, Steph. If you see loads of people leaving and a high turnover of employees, it's never a good sign. John Curtis, I presume, must have been at the game tonight, but he just said that only 3 players come over and applauded the fans tonight. The rest just went straight down the tunnel. That's not good. You know, everyone knows the struggle to get the whole way up to Ballybofey. You should be appreciating any of the fans that made their way, especially this season. I think anyone coming out to support them as well. Yeah. And I just see Daniel Shields then just saying that, you know, just wonders if the weight of this jersey is a little too much for some of these players. I don't know if a lot of these players this year even understand the weight of that jersey. Is what I would say.
The expectations just haven't been explained to them whatsoever.
No.
You can tell straight away. You can guarantee Stephen Kenny would have got them players. Like we've seen it in this documentary, the RTE thing with Longford when he first took them over. He had them in a room, sitting down, explaining what he wanted. This is the way it's going to be. This is who you're playing for. Mark Rossler said it here one night. Yeah. He galvanised, the word Mark Rossler used, he galvanised everybody, the players. He made sure that you're playing for the town, you're playing for the fans. Forget the money end of it. This is what you're up here for. And, you know, that galvanised, or that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? That man motivation maybe is just lacking at the minute up in Oriel Park. And like we said there with John, if they're not even applauding the fans, like it's just, look, I get it. I get it. They're not feeling a lot of pressure. I understand that, but I mean, you know, it's just a little courtesy to fans after traveling. It's not an easy spin. It's not like you're traveling M50 to Ballybofey.
I wonder who the 3 players were. I'm sure John will come on and tell us now. But you could probably pick them. Pick them out.
Even those 3 players should have been dragged, every one of them out of the changing room.
I know, but
that's what it's all about. And look,
I know, but
it's not their job either, I suppose. But you know,
does that not prove your point then, Gally? Though, what you just said, you know, we're talking about the weight of the jersey, and maybe they don't understand it. If you're just walking off down the tunnel, you clearly don't understand how much it takes for the fans to get the way up to Ballybofey on a Friday evening after possibly working all week, and to turn your heel.
Look, I'm sure a game like that,
work early and get up there.
Yeah, and a game like that, they just want to disappear down the tunnel. They're probably more mortified and embarrassed than anything else. But I mean,
but you got to own up to it. You can't keep hiding from these results.
Absolutely, you got to own up to it. Just acknowledge the fans. It takes about a minute. That's all it is. But look, that's just the attitude that's up there at the minute. I think they're just. I honestly don't. They can't wait for the season to be over, Joe.
Neither can we at sometimes. No. Neither can we. Just another one in there from Frank Carlin, just saying that, you know, you wonder what other clubs' opinions on Peak 6 involvement has been, you know, especially when you think they've been, you know, cleared out of Bournemouth and Roma. Like, what was the reasoning behind that? Is it something similar? Did what they originally had planned and all the greatness that they said that they bring to the table, did that disintegrate and come down to only 1 or 2 involved later on? Be interesting to know.
Yeah,
you know, it's a very good question.
We need to get on to our contacts,
and they've just gone into
Bowman and Italy.
They've gone into AS Monaco recently, haven't they? The ladies,
for their senior ladies team, isn't it?
They're bankrolling that by the sounds of it. Maybe they're just difficult men to work for. Like, I don't know. It's if they start with so many people and then they've whittled it down to 2 or 3 and it seems to be the same people over and over again. There obviously is a problem, but I don't know if it's just just the mental attitudes of the lads. I don't know, but dictatorship, I'm not really sure. Sorry, Steph, I couldn't watch it.
No. Look, maybe they're just sticking to a business model, but as everyone knows, business doesn't translate into football too well all the time. you need football people involved, people that understand it. So I'd say no more than that.
Yeah. I think 6 want to buy a bit of fence off you, Kelly.
The defence. Yeah, anyone wants to donate a bit of defence, they're all good to go.
Well, look, I suppose we'll have one eye then on Tuesday. Where do we go on this, gents? Can we do it? I mean, I've seen comments.
We were off on Friday.
Oh yeah, where am I going?
No, we thought we were off on Friday, but we're going to be back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Look, you're hoping we take them to Oriel Park and we put them to the sword, and like you'd like to think that annoys them.
Surely the momentum now is with
Harps.
Harps.
Of course.
They're right
sure.
now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Nothing sure or coming.
We're back to 11 men.
They love coming up to Oriel Park with the extra man that they now have with the 11 on the field. But like, I mean, you'd hope that night. I'm sure it's mentally draining. I'm sure the lads look at all the talk we give them of playing poor. I'm sure it's mentally draining, these boys, but they have to put it right at some stage, and they might as well put it right with a hammer on Tuesday night. You'd like to think that they're already looking to turn them over on Tuesday, but you just don't know what you want to get with these boys. You really don't. Like, you're 3-1 up. We keep repeating ourselves. 3-1 up, 60 minutes, 10 men, playing against 10 men. I don't know. I don't know what Vinny does to get them up for this game. I don't know what else he can do apart from just look back and replay the game again.
Steph?
I don't know. It's look, we need a bit of a performance as well. Like, we're at home. We should be like. We should like that sort of game.
If Finn Harps at home in the quarterfinal of the cup, we should be thinking this is brilliant. Like, let's take this. Let's get to semi-final. But
yeah, and there was a poster put up from the 2008 game of Chris Shields dressed as the Pope. Like, you know, when you sort of see them images back, like, and no disrespect to Finn Harps there, but you're sort of saying, "Oh, we got them in the quarterfinal of the cup. I wonder who we'll have in the semi-final."
Yeah,
that's the sort of way you were looking at it a couple of years ago, and yeah, we were the best team in the country, but you're looking at Finn Harps at home now, and you're just going, Jesus, I hope we can scrape through here. It's fucking sad, like. Well, I don't know. Many fans is allowed up to it. It's not. It's just probably 500.
I had something saying it could be over 2,000. Like, that's gonna have an effect, surely. Well, yeah. Like, as long as we're playing well, if there's a bit of encouragement, I would like to think. Like, let's say we can take the lead in this. You would like to think the fans will be right behind them, that they might carry them through. Maybe that's what we've been missing.
Yeah, sure. Look, we've all been in Oriel Park so many times that, you know, if sort of Dundalk's attacking and we get a throw in their half, the sort of crowd starts getting a bit of a buzz.
One good tackle in can just change the whole game, change momentum in the crowd, can't it?
Yeah, and you just hope that the players don't, you know, get a bit, I don't know if fearful is the word to use, and be afraid on the pitch. Like, the fans get right behind you unless you're not putting in your shift.
But then there's no harm in that. If you're not putting in the shift, you know, if they call you out for it, that's fair game. If you're not putting in the shift, if you're not, like, look, we've seen players not playing well, but like certain players that'll be dogged and walk and nick balls off in challenges and stuff like that, and the fans get right behind. Even they mightn't be the most talented players, but when you see non-triers or you know, players going into their shells and stuff like that and just hiding, you know, that's when the fans will really get on top of them. So it can either be a massive plus for us or it can be a really big negative. It'll just be how the players react to it, I suppose. And just a comment in there, Gally, from Eamon Collins. I don't know, I haven't seen this tonight, but it must be something that there's one or two fans calling for a boycott of the game.
Yeah, I think there's one or two saying, look, they don't deserve any to go up. But look, that's the term I'd use. It is probably a knee-jerk reaction, but they probably need fans. I know they spend a lot of time out of the stadium now with COVID, but they probably need them Tuesday night more than anything, and for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, look, I understand people's frustration.
Just to get some sort of a result there, even if, you know, we're into a semi-final, just we need some sort of momentum to take into the league. And I'll take this anywhere. Like, we're starting to get a couple of players back. from suspension, if we can, who would go straight into the team like we've seen today. Sean Murray seems to be a lot fitter than we had seen for a lot of the season. Hooben seems to be getting a bit of fitness back in as well. Like we just got it. Like I said earlier on, that's Hooben's third goal in 2 games. Like if he can continue that, we'll be okay this year. We'll be somewhat safe. But I'd be against any sort of boycott of the team, because for it to go really wrong, lads, and let's say there's a potential we could get kicked out of the cup, end up in a relegation playoff or worse, and end up in the first division, and then where does that leave us as a club?
Yeah,
Any potential investors will be looking at going, well, now I have to spend money to rebuild the club to get them into the Premier Division.
Yeah,
that's extra cost.
Yeah, and you'd like to think, if they can turn up and display, put on a good display Tuesday night, like you say, a bit of momentum into Friday night's game then as well. Is it Friday or Saturday? Friday.
I think it's Friday and then a Monday game.
Yeah.
So I did throw in the.
So we've got a lot of games. It's an extra game.
Haps on Tuesday, Sligo on Friday, and then Bows on Monday, all at home.
Yeah, but there you go. Look, you've 3 games. We've an extra game now at Oriel Park.
That's you got a bit of momentum there, surely.
Yeah, hopefully over the next. You're talking 3 games in 6 days. It's not ideal. They don't want the extra game, but I mean, look, I could be making it for the next couple of weeks, and might spare them on for something. Yeah.
Steps drinking the holy water till then. Gents, I think we will leave it at that tonight. We'll be back with our usual man of the match competition with Tony's Pizzeria, I presume, for the replay. We kind of went way off topic tonight and I forgot all about it, so I'll hold my hand up there and say I forgot. So apologies for anyone who did message in. We will definitely do it on Tuesday. Who wants to leave it, our final word tonight? Anyone?
Ali.
I don't even know what to say. I'll tell you what we'll do. We go back to the original.
How about no peak 6, have a party?
There you go, done.
No peak 6, have a party.